Welcome into another episode of Automotive Insiders. I'm your host, Jason Stein. Great to have you back listening again with us. In this special two-part episode of Automotive Insiders, we go inside one of the most closely watched companies reshaping the automotive landscape. That's Rivian. Joining us is Chief Operating Officer Javier Varela, a seasoned global executive whose career spans decades of operational leadership, who's now at the center of scaling one of the industry's most ambitious EV startups. Javier offers a candid ground-level view of the COO role at Rivian, where the mandate is clear, but the path is anything but simple. Scale from startup velocity to true high-volume production. And he'll walk through the realities of moving from 10,000 units to 100,000 units and beyond. Also, we cover where the biggest risks are. Some of them are not obvious. Where execution, not ambition, ultimately defines success. From Rivian's vertical integration strategy to the discipline behind its production system, Varela explains how the company is building the operational backbone needed to compete at scale. Here's part one of my conversation with Javier Varela, COO at Rivian, on Automotive Insiders. What a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for being a guest, Javier.
Thank you for having me. Great pleasure.
Well, let's start off. I guess probably at the beginning, if we could. Now you have now been sitting in the Chief Operating Officer role for long enough to know what it feels like. So, how is it being the COO at Rivian? How has your experience been?
Look, I have fun every day. Typically, I'm a person that enjoy work, and all my career I have very very good moments. Obviously, you have tough moments as well, but always you keep the fun, staying with people, making things happen, having success. Making transformation in the company, and this is where I'm living here. I mean, it's a company in constant transformation, great performance, and teams that are so helpful and so happy to work together. So it's kind of a very interesting situation. Having real fun.
I was thinking about your role, and essentially, you are the translation layer between Rivian's vision and Rivian's reality. And that's, for a very ambitious transformation in modern automotive history, that's a very interesting spot to be sitting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting, the path of Rivian, a company with a clear mission, keep the world adventures forever, with a clear ethos about sustainability, about innovation, thoughtful innovation, and being in this moment of transformation, helping to shape the culture of the company, helping to shape the performance of the company. It's amazing, and everything is happening so fast. We just launched R1, and now we are preparing for the new car that is coming this year, the R2 model, and in record time. So a lot of things happening, and proud to be the one that, as you well said, executes. So it transformed that strategy into operational execution.
You have so many different hats that you are wearing on a regular basis. You oversee operations, which includes manufacturing, logistics, procurement. You have a role in logistics and in supply chain. How do you keep it all straight?
Yeah, you have as you well said, different problems and in different areas and different interesting situations, different strategies. And I really love working with people, developing talent, being capable to shift from a situation in supply chain to a situation in engineering that is completely different. But there's, as I said, a common denominator is working with people, securing cross-functional alignment. I'm passionate about end-to-end approach. In a company, you need to balance well functions that are the verticals with the processes that are horizontal, right? The end-to-end. So the beauty or the possibility that I have with my multiple hats is to be able to secure that flow horizontally, that flow end-to-end, from order to delivery, from concept and design to manufacturing and expedition. So that's a kind of common denominator, securing that working in cross-functional collaboration, avoiding silos. That's super important. The other thing I really have fun, and this is as well the same, independently of what is the area, the vertical, is, as I said, developing people, coaching them, challenge the people as well. So I can define some of the traits I want to see in the leadership, and I try to lead by example in those traits, right? One of them is clear ownership and accountability. That's fundamental for a good execution. Ownership and accountability. Deadlines needs to be clear. Roles and responsibilities needs to be clear. Challenging spirit. This can-do attitude. Nothing is impossible. Raising the bar. That one of my jobs is raising the bar. Okay, let's jump a bit higher. And when you challenge the teams, raising the bar is the best way how to respect them, how to develop them. And it's like coaching. You love soccer, as I love. I mean, the coach in the soccer team will challenge during the training seasons, during the preparation, will challenge to go faster, to play strongly, and demanding the teams when and the teams they realize that they can deliver when they get that extra challenge, right? So other interesting traits I really love is the challenge spirit, curiosity. It's very important to be curious. I always say, ask why. And that's something, again, in any of these verticals and different areas I'm taking responsibility about, is asking why, securing that there's enough curiosity in the teams. Go in and see. I call it Gemba, it's a Japanese word.
Japanese.
But go and see. Always being close to the operations. In many cases, just to understand how things are working, to support the teams, to understand the weaknesses, the strengths, and to be able to support. And that's very important. Not sitting in an ivory tower, not sitting in a nice office, is just going in the field, going on the floor. Going on the floor in a manufacturing situation is going to the assembly lines or going to the whatever transformation line, but can be as well going where the engineers are designing, or going where the engineers are testing prototypes in a lab, or going where the financial guys are doing their daily operations. So that going to the Gemba is valid for any position. Another thing that is a common denominator on those areas I'm supporting, and I would say another very important is driving transformation. So you were talking delivering the strategy transformed into execution, but I'm talking now about driving transformation in a kind of continuous improvement. Sometimes are breakthroughs, sometimes are small improvements, but we need to be always transforming, always improving. And the way how we explain it to the teams and how I want them to work and how they are likely delivering is really understanding the current status. Hey, where are we? What are our KPIs? How we are delivering? What are our strengths, our weaknesses? And spending time in really understanding that current status. Then defining a goal. Okay, where I want to be in X time. There's a time axis, and then where I want to be. I have created a gap, and then I need to cover that gap with problem solving, with actions. That gap is the one that will move me to transform. So that driving transformation is another common topic that I see among all those teams.
You've worked in all kinds of different worlds, legacy OEMs, now this high growth EV startups. Is there anything that you had to unlearn when you came to Rivian relative to your past? And I guess where does the startup culture clash most with traditional
Yeah,
automotive culture?
yeah. I think it's speed and in some cases a bit unstructured, but that speed and daring to change course or change decisions or going super fast in trying and try fast and fail fast.
Fail fast.
I think that's the yeah. I think that's the big difference.
Where does your past with legacy OEMs, where does it complement what you're doing now?
The past with legacy OEMs is the structure, doing the process very well defined, rigor in the operations, discipline, clear defined strategy, good decision making. So those are elements that can complement. But as I said just before, the speed and sometimes daring to take some unstructured decisions with not having the whole information, but making thoughtful decisions with maybe 70% of the information is good.
You've been with Rivian for about a year and a half now, right?
Yes.
Rivian isn't just building a vehicle. You're building factories, you're building supply chains, service infrastructure, a brand. You're building a brand. What's the hardest part of scaling Rivian?
As you well said, we are really focusing in vertical integration. We are much more vertical integrated than any legacy OEM. And the biggest part, I mean, the scaling part of it is part of my responsibility, right? Is how we can train people, teach people, define our standards in a way where newcomers can get it integrated and done and execute at speed. But it's just the growth, right? And getting more people and more structures in the organization that needs to deliver based on what you're able to do in a smaller scale. But it's bringing people in, make sure that they integrate in the culture, develop the talent of the existing ones, but the ones that you integrate, that you secure, that you harmonize that knowledge, culture, and ways of working. I think that's the most important one when you grow, and when you grow in a situation where we are vertical integrating much more than other OEMs.
You've seen a lot of startups struggle when moving from prototype to volume. What are the biggest operational risks between, say, 10,000 vehicles and 100,000 vehicles? And how do you manage that transition?
Obviously, the first one is internal, as I said, is securing that the new people that you will integrate. Imagine in a manufacturing plant to go from 10,000 vehicles to 150,000 vehicles or 100,000, you need more people. Okay, for integrating that people, what we are doing is defining our Rivian production system. There are a number of principles that we secure when we integrate new people, that they are trained on those, they practice on those, and they are coached on those. That's a part that is the difficult internal one, securing that people can deliver in your system. But most importantly, you need to define that system first. That's something that we have been doing in the last year.
Yeah.
The other piece is the supply chain. So it's developing the supply chain. It's a complex world. It's hundreds of suppliers at tier 1 level, but then you go at tier 2 and tier 3 and even tier 4, and it's securing that supply chain grows at the pace that you need. And coordinating that growth and synchronizing it is a difficult task. Luckily, we have teams that we have developed to be able to understand that world, and AI and data and many IT tools that we started to use that we develop ourselves are helping us to enhance and to increase the capacity and the capabilities of our teams. But I would say internally is, again, bringing people, securing that they work as we want in our real production system, and then externally is the supply chain, the big task for that scale.
And for a new brand, trust is everything. Trust with consumers, trust internally. You have to think about quality while building the company itself, right? So you don't lose the trust. Is that fair, Javier?
Yeah, absolutely. Trust is fundamental. I'm proud to say that Rivian customers are really supporting the brand. When you see the external reports, we are on the top in customer satisfaction and customer loyalty, let's say. And then when it comes to the internal purposes, I think the trust is gained by honesty, transparency, great communication, leading by example by those leaders, and then delivering. So when you define something and you set a target, you set an ambition, you do it and you deliver, then you generate that trust.
Well, Rivian owners are deeply emotionally invested in the brand, aren't they? They're incredibly
absolutely
passionate about their
Oh
vehicles.
yeah, the other day, coincidentally, I was with some of this club of followers, and they are really passionate. I've never seen people so passionate about the brand and what they are doing for the brand, how they live it. They are trying to use their own cars to show new customers how good the brand is. So that's real club of followers that is super engaged.
And you've been part of other brands that have the same level of emotional attachment. I mean, I would argue that Volvo owners are just as passionate about their Volvos and about the qualities of safety and Swedish design and things of that nature. Right? Very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. That I was lucky to be prior to Rivian in a brand that had similar values from that point of view, and that club of followers, very focused in this case in Sweden, followers, but I mean all over the world. This safety branding was a clear stamp in the brand.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of if you're a Volvo owner, you're really proud of being a Volvo owner. Much in the same way. How does Rivian's customer feedback, given the deep emotional investment, how does it flow back into operations or manufacturing or design? What do you take from customers that you really want to apply in the future, maybe even with R2?
Yeah, there's an interesting point here is that we own the direct relation with the customers compared to other OEMs. So it's not filtered. In this case, there's no dealership distribution network.
Right.
We have the direct connection with the customer, so it's coming immediately. I'm always very fan of, I call it early detection, early resolution. So try to understand immediately if there's any complaint, any suggestion, any improvement that can be done, how we can capture it. And for that, we have in our after sales and quality teams an organization just to capture those data, understanding from the customers what are their suggestions or their complaints or their possible improvements, and then translate this immediately into the new design of a new car, the new model year, or in some cases, something that you can implement immediately. There's another thing that is very interesting with our cars is being software-defined vehicles. You can update the software over the air as much as you want. So you can always introduce new features. You can introduce solutions for for some problems that have been identified, and we can do it almost in real time.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful capability.
Absolutely. Yeah. And more to come, because the software piece of this is one part that's very unique to Rivian, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's unique. We own the full stack. We have built our vehicle from a clean sheet software, so we own the stack. We can make those refreshing and making the car. I mean, you buy the car and over the months and the years gets better. So your car gets additional value through these software capabilities.
That's this episode of Automotive Insiders. Thanks again to my guest, Javier Varela, COO at Rivian. Thanks for listening on this platform. Come back to us for more interviews in the future. I'm your host, Jason Stein. We'll see you again next time.